spectators off for an uninterrupted experience. The other is that at the door they were passing out when you came in some ballots. So to mark your rating, you just tear at the number, and then we'll collect those at the end, and those are for audience favorites. Okay? Sorry, asking me for my code. By the way, my name is Michelle Svensson. I'm senior programmer here at the festival, and I have a wonderful privilege of working with the wonderful staff at the California Film Institute and volunteers who help make this happen. In addition to that, tonight's community partner is the Reveal Center for Investigative Reporting, which I believe are here today as they are in the film. Hello. And the sponsor for the Art of Impact strand, which this film is part of, is the California Cultural District for the San Rafael Downtown Arts District. So thank you very much. Docklands would like to offer acknowledgement to the tribes whose lands we stand on today. The California Film Institute sits on the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary homelands of the Coast Miwok, Pomo, and Wapo peoples. We recognize the history of displacement and the difficult impact it had on their lives. The California Film Institute is committed to moving forward from a place of authenticity and to help elevate their stories, history, and present-day legacy through film. I don't want to speak too much before the film so that the film will speak for itself, and also to allow us for more time after the film for an in-depth Q&A with the directors. So I will bring them up here to just kind of introduce the film before I do just a little bit about the directors. Lucas Gilkey is an award-winning documentary film producer and journalist based in Oakland, California. He recently served as story producer on Aftershock, a feature documentary about the U.S. maternal health crisis that is streaming on Hulu. His directorial debut, What Happened to DeJuan Armstrong, a short documentary about the cover-up of a young man's death in county jail, won Best Documentary at the BAFTA Student Film Awards. Jobil Munoz is an award-winning documentary filmmaker who's produced films and TV series for the New York Times, Reveal, and the Center for Investigative Reporting, Frontline, HBO, and more. He received artist support from many, including Sundance, New America, Firelight Media, SF Film, and Dart Center for Journalism and Trauma. A former Oakland resident, today he lives in New York City. May I welcome Lucas and Jobil to the stage.
Hello everyone, my name is Jobil Munoz.
And I'm Lucas Gilkey.
I want to start off here, I won't hopefully speak too long, but I have to thank some of our supporters who are here with us today. Robina Richitelio, the Berkeley Film Foundation, that's right, Isabella Miller, Carrie Lozano, Heather Box, David Richer, and many, many more. We couldn't have done this without you. I want to thank Michael Montgomery, an investigative reporter at the Center for Investigative Reporting, who really, truly, and I mean this, elevated this film to another level, helping us get access to both people and places that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to. I want to thank my girlfriend and best friend, Charlotte Silver. Her grace and the kindness have made me a better person, and if I've ever written anything half intelligent or said something half intelligent, as I hope I am now, it's because I ran it by her first. I also want to thank her family, Anne, Sass, and more, who have welcomed me into theirs. I just did this like 3 times and it was like super easy. So I don't know what's going on. So my family couldn't be here today, but we were just together in Toronto where the film premiered. I was 13 years old when I became interested in making films. Films opened up my imagination and by extension, the rest of the world. Where I grew up in Texas, our school didn't have much to offer me in this pursuit. And at a young age, our parents got really sick, so things were tough for our family. but I was really lucky because I had 5 older siblings who wanted their little brother to keep his dreams alive. And I can say that without them, I wouldn't be here today. Lastly, I want to thank the guy next to me. We met in school and worked on each other's projects. For my thesis film, I lived inside of a migrant shelter in Mexico City, and Lucas came down to help me record sound. He doesn't speak Spanish, and as you can tell, he's 2 feet taller than everyone else. But somehow he managed to do his job and still get out of the way. His careful soul and observing eye are what made this film possible, and for that I'll always be thankful to him. Before I pass the mic, I want to say that while making this film and meeting the incredible people in it, many of whom are here today, I left inspired by what's possible when people come together to stand up against injustices. And that's why, as horrified as I am about what's happening to Palestinians as we speak, I am also deeply moved by everyone who's using their voice in defense of a free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Jobo. I will try to be as brief as possible. This is incredible to see this theater right now. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little emotional. Hopefully I don't have too much cotton mouth from the anxiety. There's just a lot of people from my personal life, from my entire life, born and raised in the Bay Area, from my professional life, from the film's life that are in this room right now. There's so many people connected to this film and the larger social movement that this film is connected to, who are on camera, you're about to see, and many more who are off camera. I can't say everybody's names right now, you know who you are. I want to give a special thanks to the people without whose hearts and souls this film would not exist. Jack, Dolores, Farouk, Dadisi, Michael, Ernesto, and others. And especially I'd like to mention Paul Red, who's in the film, who passed away tragically 2 years ago, to whom this film is dedicated. How did we come to this story is a question we get a lot. And to answer it briefly, I'm a student of social movements. My dad was a student at SF State in 1968 when a multiracial coalition of students shut down campus for 5 months and ultimately won some of the first black, ethnic, and gender studies departments in the country. This has inspired me on my own journey, and it's also why, as Jobo mentioned, we stand in solidarity with the student uprisings happening across the country in protest against the Israeli genocide in Palestine. My mother is an intuitive healer and counselor, and from her I learned deep listening, which is a part of everything I do. So when I first heard that there were going to be these hunger strikes in 2011, 2013, I volunteered. I was an emerging filmmaker, just learning filmmaking, self-teaching myself how to edit. I volunteered to make a video about what was happening to release online. That's when I met Marie Levin, who's here today, who was one of the first people I met. Her brother, Sitawa, who's here today, who I don't want to give away too much, is incarcerated for over 30 years in solitary confinement. But it was then that I knew there was a richness to this story, a complexity to this story, and that it deserved to be told in a deeper way. But I wasn't quite sure how. So fast forward to a few years later, Joe, Bill, and I met in grad school. We formed the most fruitful creative partnership I've experienced. Joe Bill brought an attention to detail, a tenacity, and consistent new insights to this really complex story. And, you know, I owe it to him that this film went from just an idea to a fully fledged cinematic vision that you're about to watch today. The last thing I want to say is, if prisons are a microcosm for society, they're also a microcosm for how we can change society. I invite you to stick around to the Q&A afterwards with some very special guests. Thank you.